CEID100, greetings, Guy Hoskins here, just a disembodied voice for the purposes of this video. I'm pretty sure my face is going to add very little value to proceedings, so let's keep this strictly screenshot. So this video is intended to be a little primer to a section of this week's module on content curation or searching without search engines. And before I go on, just a couple of little caveats. You may see an annoying little logo in the top right hand corner of the screen. I'm just road testing a new screenshot program called BB Flashback, so apologies for that. Just on a free trial. And the other thing is that what you're about to see here is intended as a complement to, not an alternative to, the course reading. So please use that as your plan A. Go through it methodically, step by step. That's the really important stuff. This is just to give you kind of a quick visual guide as to that should help you along. Now, content curation or searching without search engines might seem somewhat perverse. But as we've discovered in last week and week 2 of our readings, Google and the like will tailor search results to the individual user, which invariably means that things get omitted, and what Google thinks you're interested in and what you're interested in are not always the same thing. And so to get around that problem, we're going to try something called a social bookmarking site, in this case Delicious, which is the page you can see before you now. I'm on the home page, and we've got a fairly esoteric and diverse selection of stories that have all been linked to by Delicious's tens of millions of users. So what we're doing here effectively is we're harnessing the wisdom of crowds. And so what we're going to do is we are going to enter into Delicious a couple of search terms. So I'm going to be looking for blogs or websites that are going to give us access to what we might term thought leaders, you know, the influencers, the movers and shakers in a particular field. So for the purposes of our course, social media and business would seem to be good search terms, but don't stop there. Whatever your initial search terms are, try a few of them out. It might be digital media, it might be digital marketing, it could be social networking, and just see. So this is the first set of results we have. The first one doesn't sound massively promising, but let's have a look. Social media is a waste of time. So let's click on the link and see what we have. And of course, Delicious is not the only way that you can verify whether any of these blogs are any good. You could look at the tags that are included for each blog, and they'll give you a good indication as to whether it's relevant to your search needs. So here we have Inc.com is the source, and social media is a waste of time, but an online marketing expert explains how you can make Facebook, Twitter and Groupon work for your small business. So it seems like a deliberately kind of contrarian article designed to catch our attention, and it's worked. So let's say that this seems like it could well be a good resource to keep tabs on. So what we're going to do is going to copy the link, and we're going to take it into Google Reader, which is one of the Google suite of platforms that allows you to curate and aggregate a lot of different sources on the web and to kind of tailor it to your interests. So what we're going to do is you have to have a Google account to do this, which I presume you all must by now. So we're going to put our URL into the subscribe. We're going to go add. So you have subscribed to Inc.com. Excellent. Now what I'm going to do now is to just to put this into a folder. And so what you want to do is to gather your sources into similar groups. So in this case, Inc.com would fit into my social media marketing folder. So we're going to add it to that folder. Great. So let's have a look at this social media marketing. And now what we've got here is a feed with I think it's about a dozen different blogs and websites whose content will be updated on a frequent basis, and this gives me, rather than having to access those websites one by one, I can have them, all of their content, fed directly into my Google Reader, which is fantastic. Now the next phase of what we're doing for this section is to sort the feeds into categories. Now to do that, we're going to be taking, and if you refer to your course notes, we're going to be taking a sample of these posts, and we're going to take, say, one every 5 posts. Let's go down 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Elon Musk's Hyperloop can get you from LA to San Francisco in 30 minutes. Well, that doesn't seem a desperately relevant post from Inc.com. So let's go down. David Karp, why I sold Tumblr. That's more like it. So let's take that, and we're going to copy the link location, and then we're going to go across to our spreadsheet in Google Docs, and we're going to enter. I've started entering a few of these. We're going to put the title of our blog in here, which was inc.com, and then we're going to put the URL for the particular post, and then we're going to try and give it a category according to the nature of the post, which David Karp, why I sold Tumblr. So it's kind of social media strategy, I suppose, would sound to be a good one. So let's put that in there. Social media strategy. Okay, so here we'll add that to the 10 or so I've already got, and what we want to do now is, now as I said, this is just a snapshot. You want to try and get at least 50 in here to give yourselves a good sample, and categorize as you go, and you'll find as you move on you're going to be refining those categories. The first 10 or 20 is going to be guesswork to an extent, but as you get more and more, you're going to be able to kind of group them together more neatly. So once you've got in the region of sort of 6 to 15 different categories, you want to use another one of Google's handy services, this time Google Trends. So what I'm going to do, so we want to verify our categories and see if these sort of labels that we've created, which are largely arbitrary, whether they actually correspond to what people are looking for and the terms that are being used more generally. So let's say social media strategy. Let's copy that, put it in here. Social media strategy, social media marketing, and let's say digital strategy as 3 sort of competing possible search terms, and let's see how they fare on Google Trends. Now Google Trends is a favorite of search engine optimization types. Not enough search volume to show graphs. Okay, well let's make things easy. Let's start with just social media strategy, see what happens. Okay, so it's showing us that it was a complete flat line until around 2008, and then it really took off. So it's a relatively new concept, social media strategy. Now let's compare those 3 that I had before here. So in the search terms, we add a new search term. So let's make it social marketing, and then add one more that I have in my spreadsheet, which is social media strategy. Let's do Control and C, and away we go. So let's add that term, and let's compare the 3. Okay, So Google is doing its magic here, and so social media strategy in blue is invisible, 0, so that we can discard right away. Social media strategy I've put in twice, that doesn't help. But anyway, the important thing is that social media strategy is virtually obsolete as a search term, so let's get rid of that and let's focus on social marketing instead. And the really handy little thing is that down at the bottom of the page you have related terms. So here you can see some of the most popular similar terms that are being used, and so perhaps you can transfer one of your categories to these: social marketing strategy, social media marketing. And so, as I've said, this is a very brief introduction to this whole process, but I hope it gives you an idea of how to use these sort of 4 different platforms and how they can all work together quite harmoniously. And one final note before I depart, and that is that unfortunately Google Reader is going to become no more of July 1st. So we're going to use it for the purpose of this module, but if you want to keep using it from here on out, and I suggest that you do because it's a very handy tool, there are a couple of very similar services which will allow you to import all of your Google Reader data quite seamlessly. Those are NewsBlur and Feedly, and I'll post links to those in Blackboard. Well, very best of luck, and yeah, ask me any questions that you may have.